Dog in the southern Nangarhar province almost never happens during the day. That's because the number of insurgents hiding in the Mohmand Valley is making this flight incredibly dangerous.
Embarking on a journey in one of the most perilous regions in the world. We are wheels up from Jalalabad Airfield. Touching down at Outpost Mad Dog about 20 minutes later. It's a short flight, but one that requires an escort into a part of Afghanistan affectionately known by U.S. soldiers as the Valley of Death.
It's just an all-around dangerous place.
Situated in the Mohmand Valley, a handful of miles from the Afghan border with Pakistan, Outpost Mad Dog and several others like it are located on what's considered the front lines in the fight against ISIS and the Taliban.
This is an inherently dangerous place, absolutely, and you have bad guys all around us.
Because of that, this small, rugged outpost with no running water, no kitchen, and tents built from scratch.
This is the most austere location you can really get.
Is manned by U.S. infantry and artillery platoons from the 425, standing guard 24 hours a day.
Yep, good to go, sir. Here we go.
Constantly training. They aim to send a very loud message to insurgents.
There's no safe area as far as U.S. personnel here. So we maintain pretty strict guard towers and defensive operations.
The 425's primary mission here to provide security on the ground and artillery fire support for both U.S. and Afghan special forces, conducting operations within the valley. A call First Lieutenant Kyle Brand says his platoon is prepared to answer.
They definitely understand that at any moment they have to drop their stuff and do whatever they're doing because someone's calling on them, and they're calling on them for a pretty good reason.
One Green Beret, who asked us to protect his identity, says the Spartan Brigade's support gives him and his team peace of mind.
It's nice to have the 425 soldiers there with us, carrying what we carry, bringing the fight to the enemy. I trust the Afghan forces; they're capable. There's just a peace of mind having an American next to you, having a guy wearing the same flag as you, and so when I go out with these soldiers, I can trust them inherently, absolutely, to cover my back.
And providing cover here is no small responsibility. It's a life and death fight against determined insurgents trying to hide throughout these hills.
On a clear day, you can see the enemy. You can see American aircraft, doing their mission. In the same way, we can see the forces we support mutually.
A fight that's expected to intensify in the coming months as the winter snow slowly begins to melt and insurgent supplies and new fighters trickle in. A desperate yet determined fight in a 16-year battle to control these otherwise quiet mountains.
Because this outpost is so remote, soldiers like these from Blackfoot Company are rotated in and out frequently, allowing them to relax, refocus, and maybe even do a little laundry. Reporting from the Mohmand Valley in Afghanistan, Blake Essig, Channel 2 News.
China is a vibrant and memorable place. From dancing bears to street food
to try the scorpion
that bites back.
Blake, I got you, buddy.
I like it more than I wanted to.
The stinger's delicious.
A cultural fusion of ancient traditions and modern-day advancements. But whether you're in Chengdu, Beijing, or Shanghai, those advancements have come at a cost.
To see people with the face masks.
The haze you see hanging over the city has nothing to do with the weather. It's caused primarily by coal.
This country is very serious about shifting a lot of its coal burning, which is about half the world's coal is consumed here. About 70% of their fuel for power gen is coal. They're very serious about shifting that to natural gas.
That shift includes a non-binding partnership with the state of Alaska, a joint development agreement signed last November between the Alaska Gas Line Development Corporation, the Chinese oil and gas company Sinopec, a Chinese investment company CIC Capital, and the Bank of China.
Sinopec will be the purchaser of LNG. Bank of China will be the lender to the project. And then CIC Capital would be the equity investor if they decide to invest.
As it stands now, development of the roughly $43 billion gas line project would guarantee China 75% of the pipeline's capacity for roughly 30 years. And while there is not yet a final guarantee on investment or development,
now it's really a matter of just paperwork.
Optimism abounds.
I put a very, very high probability on this project. I mean, in the 90s.
While Alaska and China acknowledge the partnership could be mutually transformational, at least publicly,
excellent cooperation.
Little progress has been made since the non-binding agreement was signed more than 6 months ago.
Not really new. It's just an evolving process. It's a big project, and everybody's sort of sorting out what their particular role specifically is going to be.
And despite recent one-on-one meetings, there were no new announcements, big or small, during the governor's trade mission to China.
And as everybody knows, that the AKLNG project is a highly capital-intensive project, and the construction might be very complicated.
But behind the scenes in Beijing, HEDC President Keith Myers said communication remains strong.
Well, we've had really people on the ground here or them over in Alaska almost continuously without much of a break.
A breakthrough in talks could also lead to a break in pollution, cleaner skies, and a new way to energize China. And for Alaska, a brighter horizon in the state's fiscal outlook and the promise of a new economic future. Well, Nikki, there's a certain fanfare associated with the Iditarod at different checkpoints along the trail. So if you're a musher looking for a little peace and quiet, Iditarod is a good place to stop.
It's a special place. It's quiet.
Looking east from the banks of the frozen Iditarod River,
this is kind of our shining star of Iditarod.
New cabins and dog teams begin to lay claim to this once booming gold mining town. Your Olson and his team were the first to arrive.
Yeah, this is super nice, and I kind of wish I had more time to go and look around there. There's so much history, and I'm sure there's some cool stuff to see.
And to see it, all you have to do is look back across the river.
History's still all intact. It's just like they walked away from it.
Where ruins serve as a reminder of Iditarod's storied past and the people who came here in search of gold.
You got the bank vault and the AC store and the house of ill repute, we'll say.
Iditarod Race Marshal Mark Dordman was first here in the late 80s.
And the bank vault still had receipts from those days, and you know, the AC store and all the pulleys and stuff from, imagine the riverboat used to actually come right through here. And this was a city. It looked like a mini Nome.
Those tattered receipts still line the floor nearly 8 decades later.
It's just, bizarre.
Located safely inside the concrete vault from the Miners and Merchants Bank. While the bank itself no longer exists, the 2-story milled wood building that once served as a brothel and hardware store still stands, but barely intact. A piece of history which longtime Alaskan pilot and former Iditarod musher Bruce Maroney admires.
To know the people that lived out here and worked out here, you know, the hardiness of those people is just, it's hard to fathom.
And even though this town now has a population of 0, its strength and toughness live on along the iconic Iditarod Trail. Nikki, the last time that the Iditarod ran through the Iditarod checkpoint was in 2013, of course. That was the last time they ran through the southern route because of poor snow conditions along the trail. In Unalakleet, Blake Essig, Channel 2 News. When you live in a war zone, sometimes your chance for a better life is to risk your own life. And that's exactly what Afghan translators do every single day.
Not a native speaker, so it is hard to know.
I'm not going to tell you his name, and I'm not going to show you his face. What ping pong do you like? Sure, he's really good at ping pong, but that's not why he's here. And it's not why his life is in danger.
And absolutely, they will catch us and they will kill us.
He's referring to the Taliban, and the reason they want him dead, it's because of what he does for a living, more specifically, who he does it for.
They don't ask who you are. They don't think about you or your human being. They just see if you are a linguist, an interpreter, or anyone, even a shopkeeper with the United States soldiers. Whenever they catch you, they kill you.
A reality he's witnessed firsthand. At 17 years old, he and a friend applied to be interpreters for the U.S. military. He was denied because he wasn't 18. His friend got the job and was sent to Kandahar.
After 2 weeks, my friend, they brought their dead body to Kabul, and I saw, oh my God, he's my best friend. He is my best friend. How he died? So the Taliban shot on his neck, and he was killed. And it was just 2 weeks in Kandahar city, and they brought their dead body to Kabul. And I, with my own eyes, I saw him.
Despite what he's witnessed and all too aware of the risk, still, he applied again. And for the last 5 months, he's been working for the U.S. Army as a linguist, a critical communications bridge between advisors from Alaska's Spartan Brigade and the Afghan National Army.
It's very important, 100%. If I don't go to the mission to interpret the U.S. Army's advice to the ANA guys, though there will be no mission.
A mission he's sacrificed nearly everything to be a part of, lying to friends, family, and anyone who asks where he lives or what he does for a living.
I cannot tell them, I cannot tell anyone about this, my job.
He says it's worth the risk to rid his country of Islamic extremism.
I accept the risk of death, but it is my dream to serve my country, to my people, that to get out of the old mind of Taliban, where they teach the youths to radicalism, extremism. So I want to serve from this way.
For America, this war is about nation building, stabilizing a key region in the turbulent Middle East. But for this translator, it's a battle for the soul of a nation, his nation, a battle with danger, consequence, and opposing ideology. With his own life in peril, this translator and many others just like him have made a choice. And while we can't call him by his given name, some call him heroic. Most of the interpreters working with the U.S. military are on 2-year contracts. And once the man whose story you just heard is finished, he says he plans on applying for a special interpreter's visa to enter the United States, recognizing that as long as the Taliban exists, he can no longer live in his country. Reporting from eastern Afghanistan, Blake Essig, Channel 2 News.